Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back. And today we have episode 2 of Plumcast. Today we have Drayton, also known as one of the podcast guys. Him and Templetart started a CB podcast a while back. They haven't released any content for a little bit because they've both been busy. But I wanted to get Drayton, and later on we will probably have Temple on at some stage on the podcast. And we're just having a general chat about CB, what we think of the new season, of what we've seen about it. And we had a really, really nice long chat. So it's a 2-hour podcast. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. So, Mr. Drayton. How have you been?
Been pretty good. As I was mentioning in chat yesterday, I've just got back from Japan, where I went on a work trip.
Very nice.
So, be very jealous.
Japan, I am very jealous. That is impressive.
Okay. And then, before the jealousy gets too much, I did spend 36 hours in economy.
Ooh, painful.
Yeah, don't recommend.
That is
do not recommend.
That is something else. I can understand that because I'm 6'3", and so economy does.
Same height as me, good sir.
There you go. The best height. Not too tall, not too small. Just right in the middle.
The 2-yard club.
Yeah, that's it. The 2-yard club. But yeah, I remember economy flights being the worst. Although not that I have the means to do anything else but economy, but when I do go flying, that is not often. I last went flying, actually not that long ago, we went to Greece, but before then it was 10 years since I've been on a plane. But fortunately, my other half is an air hostess, so...
Oh, that's beneficial.
Now I get to go in economy plus, or business class. That's quite nice. So, yeah. Okay, got a few questions for you, Mr. Drayton.
Okay,
After you've come back from your Japan trip, you have seen some of the new season stuff?
Yeah, I've tried to stay on top of it.
Okay, what have you seen so far? I'm just intrigued of seeing what you like, knowing what you've seen.
So, what I've seen is a attempt at replacing my precious boys, the Courtiers.
Well, yes, or highlighting them. You know, you can have two Lancer Cav.
So, I immediately, when I see this new blue Cav, I'm thinking, because you've got 3 charges, you charge once down an alley, miles away from where you're actually fighting. Another charge to get them behind the enemy, and then the final charge to come through from the back. Because their mobility is going to be so high. So I'm thinking it's going to be... They're going to have a reasonable skill level required, so you can just frontal charge like a Hussar, and they'll do okay. But the top players will use the zigzagging and use the ability to maneuver around fortifications really, really well.
They're going to have a high, like, they're going to be easy to play, but people that play them properly, they're going to do some real things. They're going to be a very picked Cav, I feel. Because I feel, with being that they are 185 leadership in that season, I think people are going to take that as their Cav because they're going to do their leadership worth really nicely.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me answer this question real quick. Where in Greece? I went to an island called Andros. Yes. It's looking good. The tier 3, in my opinion, is the one that actually looks ready and thought about. Because the one thing we were missing was a blue tier Lancer Cav, that we didn't have it. We had like everything else. So that fills in a spot. I like the idea that they've got 3 charges, but you have to actually aim the charges. There's not some sort of cover commander stuff that just breaks the game because it's too easy to use. It's actually got a bit of a skill cap to it that's kind of nice, and it can be counterplayed pretty easily. That's cool. So I think I'm gonna give the new tier 3 from Avalon a good pass. A pass. But that brings us into slightly more treacherous waters.
But before we move on too swiftly,
yes.
How did the Cav do against higher tier units?
Very well.
It did well against
not
like
so
Reapers.
well. Like we did it against Reapers, and by the third charge, the Reapers were pretty much done.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was out in the open, and the Reapers still killed some Cav, but Reapers have no like Cav killing capability if the Cav runs past them, and this is all with the best doctrine. So, yeah.
Oh, just to answer the comment that's just been announced, I've got the PTR updated. If you want to jump on that later,
we will jump on that. We'll get this finished, and then actually I'll probably move my entire stream onto the PTR, and we'll do some testing. That once we get this little chit chat out the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So yes, into rockier waters. So yes, tier 3 Cav I think is fine. I think they've done a great job with it. I think it's going to be used a lot, and it is going to become annoying because people are going to get good at playing it, and you're going to lose a very high tier unit to a very low tier unit very easily. But nothing halberdiers can't stop. Is the thing. You put halberdiers out, those Cav, it's ruined. So, we'll see how it works. I imagine sallying out is going to become a very popular thing for a little while. But yes, moving into rockier waters.
Yes.
The next unit, I can't remember the name, but it is the Shield and
actually going to
Jab.
look them up as well.
Yeah, tell me what the name is, because I forget. I actually don't even know what the horses are called. Just call them the Blue Lancer Cav.
Yeah, another new Cav.
Yeah.
The Blue Cav is called Caradox Cavalry.
Caradox Cavalry. I don't like the name.
No. And then Percival's Royal Guard is the T4.
Okay,
this is the javelin thrower, right?
Percival's Royal Guard. Now, what did you think when you saw that? On from my video.
Long exhale of air.
Oh, was it one of those?
Deep sigh.
I think I went for the face palm.
Did we need this unit in the game?
Yeah. I actually, my reaction of when I first used them is on the YouTube video. You'll see my camera's in the side, and I literally just slap my face straight away. And like after I do the throw takes a ridiculous amount of time to wind up and doesn't hit any more than my Imperials or my Sergeants.
Yeah. I love the last line on the unit description. Order Percival's Royal Guard to launch their javelins, dealing massive damage.
We're not going to specify.
It's define massive.
They look at you and go,
overcompensating.
What do you class as massive? Some people like to overestimate, some don't.
Don't get me wrong. I think you tested them against Imperial Spearguard, and that's a tanky unit. And if I'm throwing javelins into a tanky unit, I'm not expecting to kill many with a throw.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also like, I think, did you mention it as a Kamehameha? Like it's the kind of like charging up, and you've dedicated positioning, time, charge up, and you've perfectly timed the cooldown to then deal no damage. Does not feel fun.
It doesn't feel good. And do you know what I think they should do with that unit? This would be the best way to do it. Take away their instant throw. Boom. Take away that. Get rid of their instant throw so they're a bit different to the other Javs. Make their charge up ability a proper Kamehameha. And give them really low Jav count. Like we're talking 3 throws. But like when they throw, once you charge that up and they throw, it is a devastating throw. But like they're going to have to go back to the supply point because they've got super low jabs. Basically, make them what Imperial jabs were back in the day.
Yeah, when they could actually fight in melee afterwards.
Yeah. Give them a
Do they then fight as a spear infantry, though?
They do make a shield wall.
Infantry?
They do make a shield wall, but it's not very good. So we tested. I was with Evo testing it, and I got him to throw at. I was using Orochi Samurai, so no shields. Mm-hmm. They took, after about 3 throws, took my Orochi down to about 19 from 24 or 28 or whatever it was. After about 3 or 4 throws. You'll see it. It's on Evo's video if you check that one out.
And
then I just go, actually, keep them as that shield wall. Let me just see, because they should block all these piercing damage. You know, it's a 100% piercing damage RRG, so not the best for smashing shield walls. You would have thought. Instantly go in there, wipe the front line out, one spin, everything's dead. Yeah, everything's dead. So it's not even like they're used as a good shield wall. Like it was, it just felt. They should have either taken one route or the other. The route that we just said, where it's a Kamehameha, and it is literally you loading up, and boom, big hit. Or go the other route, where their jabs really tickle, but they're a hugely effective shield wall. Like, but they're a jack of all trades, master of none, is what they are right now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't bother taking them.
It doesn't sound like they're even a jack of all trades.
No.
They're a jack of no trades.
Jack of no trades and master of absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about like the niche in the game that they fill, and you think of shield walls. We've got Imperial Spearguard are god tier.
God tier, 100%.
Second tier is maybe Stalwarts.
Stalwarts and then Spear Sergeants probably up there.
But then Murmalones. Or
Marmalades or Marmalades.
They're a solid shield unit.
They fill in a different role. If you have them static,
but they do have a different role.
If you fill them in, if you static, they're a decent shield wall. But you have the option to be a breaker of other people's shields that I like. But if they go out of that formation, they are quite squishy.
They're dead.
Yeah,
they're dead. Yeah.
So you've got to know what you're going to do. But that's why I like them, because they fill in a niche. You're not safe when you're around them.
Yeah, very much so. I remember when people first discovered them, and it was so fun because it was stalwart meta, and you just absolutely carved through them. The thing I'd like to see is maybe a slight rework, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it mechanically, which is weird because I think they form 3 rows of troops when they're in their standard formation, the Percival's Royal Guard things.
They don't form it like the trailer, by the way.
Oh, don't they?
You know where the unit jumps over them in the trailer, and they put a front line, and then they got a shield up top as well, and there's a little gap. They don't do that.
Got advertising.
They don't do that. They make 2 lines of just normal shield walls.
So yeah, what I'd have is, depending on how many ranks they're set up in their formation, I would have it so that there is a separation of half a second between the first rank and the second rank throwing.
I like that.
I would have them a super high block break. So the idea that the first javelin breaks the block, the second javelin from the second row then does damage to the unit.
Yeah,
that would be a very different way of playing javelins, and also as a shield unit, because you can imagine
volley.
You get like volley throwing, but they're so well trained that they can time it perfectly. Because I tell you what, that's what we used to do in like highly competitive stuff. Is we would throw our javelins, and then we'd throw a musket bomb or a flame grenade to break the block of the unit we just threw the javelins at, so that the javelins just went straight into the unit. And why not have a unit that can do that?
Yeah,
that sounds fun. That sounds like a mechanic.
I totally agree. Like, I've always wanted a gun unit that does. On Sunday I saw Napoleon, the film.
Okay, any good?
It's all right. It missed out a lot of battles. It wasn't very historically accurate, and it did have a lot of booba though. That was quite nice. Bit like this new season. So we'll have to speak about it in a second. The trailer. We'll have to speak about it in a second, because that shocked me slightly. We know where the money went. I've always wanted like a gun unit in sort of the Napoleon areas. They don't all fire at once; they fire down the line. So it's like like that, and it's. I thought that would be quite cool. If your Jav unit did that, they sort of went from one end to the other, just all in a long like line. So you had this continuous line of Javs coming at you while they're throwing. But I prefer yours that the front line is the block break, the second line throws through the gaps. That is pretty cool.
That would be great, right? As opposed to an inadequate javelin and then an inadequate shield.
It's literally so inadequate. I couldn't quite believe it when I played it. I really couldn't. But we'll be getting on to playing some of them later. I'll definitely we'll definitely get into it. What could I don't know
what they could do to it.
There's 2 options. There's what you said, but like I think they should get rid of the insta throw and focus on that charge up, and that charge up being really ridiculous. But like give them less ammunition, so you literally, when you pick the spot, it's a real KO sort of thing. Or they go the other route where they actually make it a jav unit, but an actual shield wall that can do something, Mm-hmm. But I just don't know why we needed the javs. There's so many other units that I can think of that you could have popped in the tier 4 zone. The deployable barricades come to mind. But no, I'd like some interaction with the environment. Like, I've always thought a unit that would put down spikes in front of themselves, like even if that was a ranged unit, I thought that'd be quite cool. So yeah, I don't know. It was something for the comments, I guess, to discuss what you think could have taken the tier 4 place. But now we get into
some very clever people will probably have some very good suggestions on that.
Exactly, yeah. There'll be much. It's just I just don't think it's not been inventive at all. I don't think anyone's going to be taking this unless this unit becomes ridiculously powerful. They buff it to the moon. I don't think anyone's taking it, because why would you take it over Imperial Javs, fully mastered Imperial Javs, or fully mastered Imperial Jav Sergeants?
Yep.
Imperial Javs, anyone comes near you and press shield throw, they get insta deleted. Like, it's really strong. And then from a distance, their Jav actually can knock down shields, like actually can penetrate through block. Especially if you do the keyhole one, the aimed fire, like where they all fire at one point. If you do that into a shield wall, that first 3 of them breaks that shield, and the rest of them just go straight through the gap and hurt everything inside. And the new unit doesn't have a direct aim, so
is it not?
No, it doesn't have like your keyhole fire, so it doesn't even have that. So you can't do that with them. So kind of pointless. But we shall move on swiftly.
Okay, are you doing hide and seek?
No, not currently.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
You're
not
intending
tonight.
to do it later. Okay.
We won't be doing hide and seek tonight. We're gonna do this, our little chat, and then we're gonna go on the PTR and we're gonna do some testing.
Sounds good.
That is, and then we'll do hide and seek tomorrow night. That actually, I can get out here. If you're seeing this video and it's only just come out, I'm giving away some battle pass, and we do a game of hide and seek. That obviously, you're gonna know hide and seek. I will go and hide somewhere in the open world, on stream, in a city, village, or fort. And you have to come and find me. If you're the first one to find me, you get given a battle pass for finding me. It can be anywhere in the open world. But as we get further into, if no one's found me in an hour, we zoom out slightly, and we continue doing that until someone finds me, or we end the stream and we restart it tomorrow. But so we'll probably be doing that on Wednesday. So if you see this video, Thursday. We'll do it Thursday because I'm not sure when this video will go out. Come and join 8 o'clock UK time. Okay, moving into the last unit.
Yes. Queen's Guard.
The Queen's Guard.
Queen's Knights. Queen's Knights.
Oh,
Queen's Guard sounds better.
Queen's Guard does sound better. So, in my opinion, this is just as pointless as the last one we spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels so unneeded. Using them, I've seen the list of buffs they're getting that I'm sure will make them fine. But my inherent issue or problem, or it's time that we do this again, is back in the day, flamethrowers, falconetti gunners. These units that can be useless in certain places, but also game-changing in other places. Like, where's that inventiveness of that again? Like, I would be much more excited about something like that coming out that serves a purpose, does something like that, instead of just another T5. Basically,
sword and board.
Yeah, sword and board. I don't mind them putting it in sword and boards, but a T5 men-at-arms effectively without being as good as men-at-arms just doesn't really seem that exciting. I don't know what you think. Maybe I'm being very skeptical and a bit down on these. But what do you think?
I've not seen anything good. I've not seen like anything good from them.
No.
And what I'm desperate for is I'm desperate for a mechanic that isn't just instantly OP like Cover Commander is. I'm desperate for something that doesn't require press one button, kill everything, like it felt the Onimusha were.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of, and you look at them and you think, oh, they should be really highly mobile. They're essentially duelists.
Yeah.
A pack of duelists around. Oh, doesn't that sound like Hashashins? But they've got a sword and shield.
They
so
should
maybe
be...
they're different.
They're like not Janissaries. What's the Azaps? Azaps.
Okay.
Or Azaps, whatever. I feel like they should have taken. If you're going to make them, they're almost wielding a rapier. Like a very kind of stabby and leaping out. Why couldn't you fully commit to that? Get rid of the shield, get that gone, and make them like little bit of Azap sort of side to it, where you've got like counter striking and stuff like that, but very like swishy and sort of like how like fencing, where they're like parrying and they're like properly like lunge stabbing and stuff like that, and you make them, I don't know, 18 to 20 man unit, but they're very much flamboyant and very fast and very nimble, but you give them obviously some sort of, at the moment they are squishy even with a shield, but why are we giving things a shield if they're not going to be tanky? Like they're not tanky. So take away that shield and make them a nimble, high damaging unit like that.
Yeah. So they're playing it with the crutch of the invulnerability. So they're invulnerable, which means they cannot take damage. And that is a dangerous mechanic to bring into the game. But if they do it right, it says it's invulnerable for a short period of time with one of their skills. Following it up with a fencing technique to take down enemies. I am not against pressing a button and saying the unit gains 100% block. It blocks every attack that comes in for the next 2 seconds, and afterwards it deals an attack with a base value plus 200% of all the damage it negated, and therefore it's used as a literal counter-strike.
Yes.
I would not be against that, because that requires good timing, that requires the unit to be in the right place at the right time, and can be played around, because you can then play around, and it should be a relatively long cooldown. It should not be a 4-second ability. It needs to be at least 40 seconds, and maybe a doctrine to bring it down to 30.
Yeah.
That could be really fun. That could be really good. But it looks like they've missed the mark again.
I think someone's had an idea to do the rapier thing, and then someone else has got involved, and then someone else has got involved, and it's ended up with this.
They're gone, this is what we'd like to do. You know what, we can't code it in time. This is what we'll do instead.
That's another thing I think about what I've seen so far from the new season, is that it just feels... none of the abilities have any wording on them right now. Like, if you go to the vet lines, maybe everything feels like it's just been, oh god, we've got a new season to do. Bah, there it is. And the only one that I think was finished was the T3. I think
because it's a reskinned Cortalier.
It's a reskinned Cortalier, but it's also got its own voices animations, where the other ones I don't think have their...
Oh, doesn't it? That's good.
It's got its actual... like it tries to flirt with you. I seem to remember I clicked on them and like, hello, handsome. I was like, Jesus, what's going on here?
Please buy me dinner.
Exactly. So... Yeah, it's I don't know. What would you do instead? Like, if you could... Let's forget that the season's Camelot, and is it I don't even know what the season's meant to be to be honest.
It is Camelot.
It is Camelot.
It is. Avalon is the kingdom of King Arthur.
Wasn't it Camelot?
Camelot was the castle.
Oh, makes sense. Right, Avalon.
I think I could be wrong. And then you've also, it's 100% Arthur, because one of the last teaser lines was the once and future king, which is Arthur, 100%.
Okay, but like, if we were going to go down that route, why don't we commit to it? Where's like Lancelot and that sort of thing?
That's what the Booming Games units are called.
Oh God.
Lancelot Knights.
Oh
and
no.
Galahad Guard.
But like, you could have gone down like,
you could have had your NPCs being Lancelot, right?
Yeah.
And Galahad and Gawain and Ivor and all those, like the amazing knights.
You could have had what's her name? Mal'Ganis, is it? Mal'Ganis? Morgana.
Morgwyn.
You could have had like her as a healer, or I don't know. I don't know how I feel 100% about CB going fantasy. Or trying to go fantasy, or
it hasn't gone fantasy. It's gone fiction.
But what are they trying to do? Like, there are so many other eras of history and unique things they could have done. Like we've all come up with like bloody pirates, Egypt, Aztecs, like all of these real world things that have lots of usable units that you could have made that would have been really cool. And yet they go with Camelot over, like, you could have done a British season, but like you could pick from a list of history in that.
Robin Hood would have been better.
Like Robin Hood, you could have filled out the T5 archers. Done. You know.
Yep. And then everyone stops complaining about where are these T5 archers
that are coming. They're coming soon. Actually, I don't know if you knew that.
Are they?
Yeah, they're coming soon.
Oh.
Yeah. Just put your mouse.
Watch
over.
the space.
Put your mouse over them.
Oh yeah. God, yeah. I remember seeing that maybe like 3 years ago.
Oh well, there you go. It's coming soon. Don't worry.
Coming soon.
Okay. But you're right.
I do worry, Plum.
You could have done Robin Hood, and we could have had the first like T5 longbows. One man.
There would be your deployable barricades, right?
Yeah, 100%. They put down stakes in front of them that deplete after they hit someone. But like if Cav runs into them, it's a good stop. And you could have made it like it could have been berserkers of the archers, like six longbowmen or something like that are like literally Robin Hood. Elite. But do you know what would be great about them? And do you know what would be great about even introducing that into the game? Do you know what would be the best hero to play? A longbow. You would be so valuable to your team now because you would see those guys up there and go, right, they're mine, they're dead. Like playing a longbow would actually be worth it. Because of this unit, and everyone would unit, and it'd be like 6 men firing ballistas at your men, with their longbows. Cool. Like it's actually like penetrating into shield walls and stuff.
Yeah, they'd run up, and there'd be like formations that allowed them to line up perfectly behind your front line, and they'd go down on one knee and draw this massive bow back.
Oh my god! Just a huge English longbow, just the same size as them, just fully locking it back. And then we had the obviously other.
And then they fight using the bow. They beat people with the bow rather than getting the butter knife.
Do you know what we could even do? Yes. You know when we go down the stairs once you've taken A on a lot of the maps, they could jump on someone's shield and slide down it while firing their bow. Oh,
and there'd just be a little bit of amazing music from.
Yes. Every time they do it, everybody gets like pounded with music as they slide down, and then when they get to the end, they flick the shield out from under their feet,
and it kills someone.
It goes the entire length of wherever it goes. It's like a guided missile, a tomahawk missile coming at you.
Odd job hat. It's like an odd job hat heat seeks.
And then it does heat seek. And then once that's flinged out from under their feet, everybody gets like a kill cam of their face. Doing sort of a epic pose. Everyone has to endure it, and then we continue.
And they've got like a Jeremy Clarkson smug grin on their face. Then that would be.
Oh my god! Yes, that would be amazing.
Chef's kiss.
Well, there you go. That's tier 5. But in all seriousness, the other thing that I thought they could have done is like the pirate season.
Oh, pirates would be so good.
Like. And on the vein of like the Falconettis and the flamethrowers, I really wanted a unit of 6 pirates that just carry around grape shots. and they have like their ability that they do is called clear the decks. Really short range, but it's like they go. You know how I was saying how the gun line goes bang, 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 bang. They do that down the line, and so you set them up like you would like flamethrowers. They like I would even say they're less ranged than flamethrowers, but they do a volley of grape shot just in front of you. Niche, super niche, but like if it goes well, it goes super well.
Have you played much Warhammer Total War?
No. Back in the day, I played a bit of it, but
there are so many options available from that repertoire of units that
would
have
work
a
in
real
CB.
crossover. I know it's like fantasy world, yes.
We're now going into it
you
now.
Take a look at the Pistoliers, which are gun cavalry. There you go. There's a unit we don't have. I think you mentioned it on your talk with Coffee, where you'd have a saber and a pistol.
Yes, saber pistol.
So that would be another really good unit. Like literally just reskin the Jangus. They've got the saber. But give them a gun.
Yeah, it's and then you could even just not even code the pistol to fire. You could just have a dagger coming out the end of a gun. You wouldn't have to do much. The saber
but it would
pistol
do more armor piercing.
Yeah,
because that's the thing with guns. Guns are armor piercing, where knives are good against unarmored things.
Unarmored Jangus slap if you come up against halberdiers or when no one's got shields. But at the moment, obviously you got men at arms and everything everywhere, so they're kind of useless. The saber pistol, I also kind of wanted to be a hero weapon as well.
Yes, that would be good as well.
Because they wouldn't have to code much. Chain dart, you just take away the chain dart and replace that with a pistol, effectively. So it wouldn't actually be that difficult to make. I mean, there's so many hero weapons. I think they've missed a trip by not releasing hero weapons every other season or every season. Like our hero weapons right now should fill. You should have to scroll for miles and you could like have so many options of weapons to play. Just feel like we've been stuck with the same weapons without having that real diverse crossbow, flail, saber, pistol, javelin. You know that sort of thing. Dual axe, great sword. Like where's all that stuff? Like that should fill out the list. So when you go into battle, you might only ever see one maul or one poleaxe because there's so many weapons to play that it would be very unlikely that you would come up against 5 or 6 of the same weapon. That I think is and I always say it's not. I don't know why they've done it because it's not hard to balance. You take a game like World of Warcraft where you have to balance multiple different. Well, you got a class that have 3 specs with about 27 abilities each spec, and you have to balance that against everyone else that has the same thing. That's difficult. Essentially, on Conquest Blade, you use 4 abilities. You balance it once, so it fits in. You don't actually need to touch it again because nothing really changes. So, yeah, that's. I think if they really want to save the game and bring people back, because everyone gets curious about a weapon. Everybody gets curious. When they announce they're releasing a weapon, like when they released the pike or the chain dart, people flood in. If you go back on the Steam charts and you look at the time where they release weapons, you'll see that the biggest spikes come from those. And the biggest amount of people stay around for it because they enjoy using the new weapon. If they just pulled their finger out and just spammed weapons, I wouldn't mind a season where they only, you know how like the one where they release 2 units and nothing else. If you release 2 units and a hero weapon every season, I'd be more than happy with that. It's just you need to give people something to do, something different to play.
I think it's safe to say the blue unit is not where they make money either.
No,
because I feel like I've unlocked the blue unit day 1 or day 2 of the season.
Yeah, totally agree.
And therefore it's not really a challenge to get to it.
No.
So
if you're a casual player, my friend who's a casual player, he has basically every blue unit unlocked, and then he's like halfway through a few purples and hasn't really got many T5s. But at the end of the day, I don't think you need to ever pay for units, like especially especially like going into how some of the T5 have been lately and how they're looking, I just would hold back if you're thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
I'd really hold back. Just work out as many. If you're desperate to get it quickly, what I'd say to do, look at the challenges that are easy. Get those done, and get all of the ones you can get done, and then use your sovereigns for like 2 or 3 of the challenges, and then you're just making it so much cheaper for yourself to get these things. But then even then, I'd say the only reason why I buy them is because I like try and get a video out the day they come out. But I don't know if I'll be doing that this season, unless something massively changes. I just don't see any. I mean, I'll probably change my mind on it, but at this current point in time, I don't see any sort of excitement about the tier 5 or the tier 4 that is going to make a good video. So, like for example, the Zweihanders, even though they weren't amazing or weren't very good when they came out, and they're still a bit of a meh. I mean, they can be really good, but they do get wiped quite quickly. That's fine. They fill a role. They're basically like chunky on a Musha. But yeah, those are exciting. People were looking forward to those because they were unique. Regardless of how powerful they are, they were unique and they looked cool. And we don't have that many big sword or big two-handed weapon units where you like think about it like Sealadars, big axe, Zweihanders, big sword, Claymores, slightly smaller but big sword. So yeah, they were exciting.
Yeah, they were a good unit, but they were also something that everyone was saying, why is this not a hero?
Why do we not have a great sword in this season? Like, why we not got a hero weapon? Yeah, exactly.
So, this might be a really good time for me to ask you a couple of questions, Plum.
No, turning the podcast round on me. I like it. I'm spinning round.
I'm going to flip it.
Okay.
So, you have, and we have chatted quite extensively now about the elements that make a season.
Mm-hmm.
What does a good season need? What does any season need in terms of your opinion? And what have the current and last couple of seasons looked like, and why have they been as they are? So if we start from, what are the categories of things that need to be done for a season to be of Conqueror's Blade to exist?
Okay, so first off, if we're gonna, I've just discussed a little bit about this with Coffee, but it's something to go over definitely. It's the first thing is there has been some outstandingly like good seasons, not outstandingly good, but like outliers that have been really quite good seasons. And I would say the Sendoku was a good season for purely the amount of content that was placed in there. We had multiple units. We had the new mastery system. Like how many units we had? The Naginata monks, the mace sergeants, the matchlocks, the Orochi, the Onimusha, and the Ronin in one season.
Okay.
To unlock.
That was units, right?
That was units. That's just.
I'm gonna jot these down. I encourage you to do the same.
Okay, that was that was just units. Then we had the Together to Victory, where you had to attack it, and then you had the Together to Victory that you had to defend it. And then obviously we had the mastery system come out. That obviously can't come out every season. You can't have a new system come out every season. But we got our first mastery units. We also got the leadership changes with all the and the level changes with all the units that season as well. There was a lot happening. Granted, it's not perfect and it's not the way I would say a complete season should be. But it was definitely a step in the right direction. I admit you can't have 6 units every season. It's just that's just how it worked out because they were making a lot of game improvements. They seem to be heading in the right direction. Like I was really positive during Sendoku because it felt like they were finally going, you know what, we do care about this game and we really want to start making some really decent changes. I think they did. But then we lead ourselves into the Nightfall season that, don't get me wrong, I was very hyped for it, and then I saw the trailer, and they were using Optimus Prime as the voiceover in the trailer. That really threw me off. I don't know if you've seen my reaction video to that. You could tell I was kind of like disappointed. But nonetheless, we went to the season, and if you even forget the server troubles we had with whatever was going on when we couldn't actually play, there's been no content. Apart from, obviously, Mastery units releasing and the units from the season, there's been nothing. There's been, obviously, seasonal events, but that, if whatever season falls under those, they get that. It's been just dull. Now, what I'd say a season needs to be, seasons need to be shaken up a bit. We can't go on just having, there's your 100 battle pass, there's your 3 units, off you go. That needs to end.
So you're rattling off more things that need to be put down. Battle pass.
Yes, battle
needs
pass.
To be, that is something every season is going to have realistically at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think a season.
Very good business model.
Yes, I don't think. I think obviously they need to have a battle pass. And putting that in, that's fine, but that should not be a key feature. And yes, runes from chat there. Runes just didn't change. Like for 3 seasons, they didn't bother changing the runes, so there was nothing exciting there. Even if they have a set menu of things and they change them every season to what they already have made before, but it just changes things up. Like, I know you can't develop new runes all the time, but like, let's use a bit of imagination for some of them at least. And then so we didn't have anything change with that. So in terms of what I think you need for a successful season, sorry to interrupt, but we have an important announcement that I thought we would add in halfway through this video. Drayton wanted to promote a charity event, so I'm going to let him talk about it, and then we will resume the podcast. Thank you for listening.
So, some people in the chat may know this, some people won't. There's currently a charity event run by the Yogscast where gamers essentially can donate £35 or more and get £1,000 plus worth of games.
No way.
All the money goes to charity, and the event runs for another 3 days. I typically donate to this every year, and this year's collection is pretty good. And I'm kind of in a position where some people know who I am, so maybe I can use that minute amount of clout to try and get a couple more people to donate to charity.
The podcast guy.
I'm the podcast guy.
That's it.
So, games included in the well, it's not called a bundle anymore. The collection this year. Stuff
collection
like
does
Aces,
sound more classy.
Aces and Adventures, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Super Hot, if you've heard of any of them. And yeah, I've basically set up a campaign. I've said it's the minimum amount is what I'm aiming for, which is £100, which is 3 people buying this bundle. And yeah, everything goes to charity. It's not for me, it's not for anyone else, it's literally just to try and raise awareness. Don't worry just yet. You're still formulating. You're formulating, which is good.
Okay. Oh wait, do you want me to keep going on this on what they did wrong?
No, we're basically just like jotting it down.
Okay.
Other things that we had previously that we no longer have really are skins and attires, right?
Yes. This is why you're here. She just guided me straight back into that path.
I've planned this all out, mate. I've planned this all out.
Oh my god, he's got the roadmap. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be lovely.
Yeah, the seasonal skins. Now, I've said this a lot, but the seasonal skins, back when I first started playing, and for quite a few seasons after that, there was always an excitement for me about the first thing I would go to would be the seasonal store to check out what I'm going to spend my blades on, or whatever it was at the time, because then it changed to blades, and then blades, obviously, it was a great idea to change it to blades and make them go from season to season to season. That was a good idea. But it was always my first thing I did. I was like really excited to see what the weapons look like, and I might purchase that one. I might purchase that one. This 3 attire thing now that we get every season that is locked behind all or nothing. Probably the most sweaty, annoying game mode possible. That I hate. I hate with a passion, because you can't even use your own units for it. Scrub that out, and you might as well put in ranked without your units, is what it is. It's awful. You shouldn't have something that is in the season behind something that is inherently not fun. It should be like if you ask if you ask everyone, I guarantee 90% of people will be like, no, I hate All or Nothing. I hate it. There are 10% people that will be like, yeah, I really like it. But
they're the people that won the 3 in a row and they moved on quickly.
Yeah, exactly. They're not the ones struggling that then run out of tokens and have to buy tokens or try and win 3 in a row, get to 2 in a row, and then get knocked back twice.
Ugh.
It is not a good thing to hide your season specific attires behind that. Like, I just don't get it. If you're only going to make 3, that's fine, but put them in the seasonal shop so everyone can get them. You know,
afterwards.
It's just silly. Or put them under an event that's actually fun. Like, it's crazy that, like, okay, so we did a while back. We did like a peasant run where 15 of us put falconettis on a hill, and the other team had to run their peasants from this side to this side. I'm not saying that should be the game mode, but what I'm saying is it was a bit of fun. There was not really any competitivity to it or anything like that, but it was a spectacle and it was fun. Why don't you just lock them behind or put them behind something that's a spectacle that's fun? Like, I don't know, add a game mode where no one's got any weapons and you can only use muskets. And it's like a Napoleon battle. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're all coming up with muskets. It's all fun and games. You get your box at the end. Boom, it's done. Just, like, it should not be, like, the sweatiest content to then get your seasonal skins.
We have enough sweaty content with Ranked. We
Exactly.
Don't need more.
I want to come on and fun. I don't want to come on and be, like, I would come on and be like, I have to do this. And I'd be sit here for hours, winning, losing, just to get to 3. Just to get to 3. And then I get to 3, and I never touch it again, because I hate it. So, yeah. I think that's an issue. We need to bring back... You know, and the other thing I hate is that they got rid of the seasonal skins, all of them, because they said they were going to want to put more effort into other things. Where's that effort? Where is it? The other thing is they said, you know, some skins weren't getting bought with the blades. Well, that should probably tell you something about that weapon. That potentially that weapon isn't performing up to standard. You know, you could maybe it's because the skin looks terrible, but 90% of the time, the reason why that bow or that short bow or that spear isn't being bought is because the weapon is just not good.
Yep.
And nobody's using it. So, what you could have used that as a marker to go, actually, let's take a look at this weapon.
So, now I'm going to rattle off a list because I think you've hit it on the head there, and I haven't got any more points. Because the final point that came from you saying maybe that weapon isn't used, it's balance.
Yeah.
And if there's no balance, then there's now all that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we've got units, so new units every season, new game modes.
New game modes is a big one.
And runes I think Mastery System is like a rework of current systems. And then runes happens every season. Battle types. I think I've maybe mentioned that already.
I have something concerning about Mastery. It concerns me. Some units, not so much. Some units, it makes 100% better. They're more fun to play. It makes them better. But on the other side of it, I don't think they watch Masteries hard enough to be like, right, we need to be careful with this. Because it can just totally change things. So I was in a game earlier where there was about 6 people with Kriegsrats and the rest are running around with men-at-arms. And our team literally couldn't get up there because, well, you get up there, you get insta-killed by the men-at-arms. And then if you stepped out in the open, the Kriegsrats just insta-kill you. Like, it was actually... And they didn't have to go back to the supply. They were becoming inherently faster and faster and faster. They were running like the speed of light. They were insta turned around. As soon as your head popped up, dead. And they didn't have to resupply ammunition because they get 12 12 ammunition back for every unit they kill. So any push you make, they're instantly regaining ammunition, getting 20% more piercing damage, 20% more speed, or is it 40%? I think it's actually 40%. So they're getting more and more powerful. I've done a lot of videos with Kriegsrats, and since their mastery, they're becoming a problem. You watch the damage in some of my Kriegsrats videos that I've done, especially one that is Steady Men or something like that, one of those videos. At the end, my Kriegsrats are hitting for 8,000 on Men-at-Arms. That is...
Wow.
It's ridiculous. And then you get into the Men-at-Arms problem that I was in a game trying to sneak my assassins around to someone's archers. Now, he wasn't with his archers at all. The guy just not abandoned them, but did the error of he wasn't fox guarding them. But they were behind shooting up onto the supply, or trying to shoot up onto the supply. There was an AFK guy who was obviously away from his thing. He just had his Men-at-Arms on cover commander, and he was just at the bottom, just hiding kind of behind a wall, not moving. So I was like, okay, let me send my assassins down. They go down some stairs, around behind an arch, so behind where he is. The Men-at-Arms insta-aggro, and they're quite far away from him, and just insta-kill all of my assassins before they can run like past them. And I'm like, why? Why is this a thing? That he's AFK, and they can kill an entire tier 5 speedy assassin unit without him even being at his thing. And this is what leads me into like an unpopular opinion. I think cover commander should be removed from every unit. And I say this because you see
saying that, yeah.
Imperial Spearguard, and it's a controversial opinion, really controversial, because a lot of people love cover commander. But Imperial Spearguard, back in the day, you used to actually have to set them up in shield walls, play with people that put their pikes behind them, and you would make a formation with other people. Now what happens is you get a maul, a poleaxe, or a longsword, put them on cover commander, and just use them like that. You're just in a death ball with them. You very rarely actually set them up in a shield wall formation. You just roam with them, because they do effectively the same thing and give you a 27% damage reduction on your hero. So you don't bother. Very rarely would you ever put up a thing. And Men-at-Arms gameplay is you kind of X them up to someone, you press cover commander, and then you might leave them on cover commander, or you might X them up depending how good you are at playing them. But like, it just doesn't. I feel like you should have to use them. Like, I was talking to Evo about this. I was like, Paladins, right? Paladins, at least back in the day, XVing took skill. You know, if you didn't XV them properly, you'd get them wiped. But if you XV them properly, you got reward for doing that.
Yep. But that's why Paladins are... No, sorry, Men-at-Arms are so used. It's because they're so forgiving and so easy to use. You could press the button and then take your hand off the keyboard almost.
Yeah, I've did that many times when we were using them. But it's just how easily they can pick up kills. Don't get me wrong, people are finding ways to kill them, and you know it doesn't always go well. Like, you can't just run them into 3 stacks of something, or run them into a stack of shields and halberdiers. They're going to get killed. But what I'm saying is the cover commander thing, where it just ruins. Okay, for me, I'm an assassin. I play dual blades. My role is technically to sneak around the back and try and kill heroes, or try and do whatever. I can't kill an AFK hero because someone's Men-at-Arms will just sprint me, and I'm in light armor. That means 2 of them can kill me in their charge. That I feel like is an inherent issue that you can just leave them on cover commander. And so personally, I think cover commander, controversial opinion, should be gone from the game, because then you would actually have to use your units as their desired effect. Thoughts?
It's an interesting one. I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon. If they were going to do
it, as much as I say, you know, I would like to see it removed. It's not my biggest problem right now. You know, there's a big mountain of other things I would like in the game before they remove that. That's sort of polishing the turd.
Yep, that is rolling it in glitter for sure.
Rolling it in glitter, yeah.
Okay. So we spoke there, and I jotted down 11 things.
Okay.
11 things that realistically need to be addressed for every season for it to be good. And we mentioned the ones where, like, Sengoku season was pretty fantastic for content. Loads of units, loads of game modes, new reworking and balancing changes. There wasn't a map, was there? There were maps, but they then disappeared off.
Yeah, they had the Together to Victory maps, but like, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Not saying that was the best game mode ever, but it was content.
No, they did.
Did
They
add a new map?
redid White Elk and they redid Kuruk.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah, I mean,
So they redid 2 maps.
it was something different.
So yeah, on that list I've got down 11 things. Now, unfortunately, I've done a bit too much work in business now, particularly corporate.
Are you going to give me a full
There's
corporate
only
speech?
so many resources you can allocate. So
Okay.
we've got 11 things. Units, game modes, systems like mastery. Why have I got new levels? What does new levels mean? Why have I written that down?
Because in Sendoku they normalized everything. They went tier 4s go to 24.
Yes, new levels. So again, like unit rework and hero rework. Let's do that. Runes every season, new maps, territory wars, weapon skins, special events, new weapons, balance, and other.
Right.
So actually, we're up to 12 things. Got 12 things there.
Okay.
We're going to go through each of them. What percentage of the total allocation of resources do you think the season should have?
My God,
for
analytical.
it to be good.
I could cut some of those out because some of them are already in the game, so they don't need to be a focus anymore.
Okay.
But yes, go through the first one, and I'll cut it or not.
So units.
In what sense? Balancing or the new
like
units for the season?
introducing new units for the season.
Okay, so I think
How much of a focus should that be?
it should be quite a focus. You know, the game is units, but I would accept even 2 units if the season was coming with a weapon, coming with a new hero weapon. So I think it's very important, but I actually almost think adding hero weapons is just as important to keeping players coming into the game wanting to try new weapons. Because as much as you use a unit, you know, you still love killing players and other people's units with your hero. So, yeah, I think it's important though. I think it's important. Do you want me to give a number for that?
I'm looking for a number, and if you want to give the one for a new weapon as well at the same time, because you said they were equally important, maybe you could double it up.
Yeah, so I think probably. So have I got 100% to spend? Are we saying that?
You have 100% to spend. Think of a pie chart.
I'm thinking of a lovely big pie, and I will allocate to putting in a new unit. The 3 new units, I think that's a high one. That's got to be 40%, and then.
Oof.
I mean, you couldn't have a season
without
without new units, unless we totally fresh thought about what a season means, and we reset it. But if we're going off the current format,
we could do current format versus what we think an ideal one could be.
Yeah,
if you want to take
that we'll go off current format, because I could, if we totally redesigned it and said, right, we rethought what a season actually is and what you get from a season. Then I don't think we could make that far less important, because we could add some other stuff that feels just as good or even better. You know.
So to follow on that, new weapons currently has 0%. Is that what we're seeing?
They're currently at 0%. But if it was me, that needs to be very high priority. I just feel like you'd be bringing people in. Maybe not every season, but it should be at least once every other season. There should be. A weapon, but when they have that break period, there needs to be you can't just say, oh, it's easier work this one. You need to add something else in, something different, like maybe a new map instead of the weapon. Like every break season should be a new map, and the season with a new weapon obviously doesn't have the map. If we're sharing, if we're not wanting to use too much resources up, but that's I think it's a hugely important thing. Weapons, really, really important.
Okay, so how much are they currently doing on maps?
When was the last time you saw a new map?
Cinco.
And was that a full new map, or was that just a rework?
That was a rework or reskin.
Exactly. And how much do you actually get to play these new maps? I haven't played that French. The last map I remember that's new that I could be wrong is the French map.
Grand Croix, yeah.
That was the last one.
It's.
And I haven't had that in a long time.
I guess you could maybe say the Colosseum ones.
I haven't had the Colosseum in
Spooky Spectacular.
I loved the Colosseum. I actually really enjoyed the Colosseum.
Yeah, 'cause it's different, right?
Yeah. Why is that not a game mode? To just,
So,
we have Siege, Field Battle, and Colosseum. Like.
Okay. I've got a new idea. We're going to score these out of 10, and then I'm going to normalize them, and we'll get percentages out that way.
Okay.
So, new units for you, out of 10, how much of a priority is it for the season? You need new units every season.
Yeah,
right?
you need. Yeah, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay. New weapons you think is once every 2 seasons?
Yeah, so that'd be a 5.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, probably
5.
6 or 7. Yeah, I'd say.
Okay, we'll go 6.
Yeah, go 6 because I would like that once every other season. I think they would probably complain about doing it every season. That's every basically 12 weeks. But once every other season, it should not be what it is currently. That is, well, what we speculate is once every 4 seasons or 5 seasons. Yeah,
it's got longer. Game modes. So this is new ones like Spooky Spectacular, like Colosseum.
Huge. And a little added asterisk to this would be this thing that me and Coffee were talking about. I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but it was basically a random sign-up button. Basically meaning...
Yes, like quick play.
Yeah, quick play. You get extra rewards, extra XP for your units, that sort of thing, as a bonus reward for just going, you know what, I don't care, put me in anything. That way, if we put that button in the game, you can still sign up for everything else. You can still sign up directly, but you put this button in the game, nothing is irrelevant. There's one change.
I'd maybe get a bit annoyed if I got an expedition from that, though.
No. It's only for PvP. So, like,
okay.
If I bring up this, so like, you click on PvP, right here will be random sign up, and that will give you a random sign up between Siege, Field Battle, or any of the other modes they put on PvP. It's not going to give you anything PvE or any expeditions or any events. It means this list of permanent game modes is never dead. You never have a field battle situation where I need to get 50 people from the stream to sign up to actually get a field battle. Like, because people are not going to turn down the opportunity to maybe get 1 treaty, extra XP, for just signing for random sieges, random battle. And I just think it's such a simple... So many games have done it. It's such a simple workaround. And I'm shocked that it hasn't been done yet, because they could add in any game mode past that point, and it would never be dead. How many times have they've added something good in, and it's died off because, I don't know, people just head back to Siege, but it's actually been a genuinely good game mode. You're like, why is no one signing for this? Like Colosseum, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah. So game modes I've put down as 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah. We cannot be stuck doing Siege for as long as we've been doing. Like,
particularly given our next topic, maps. Given the fact we have very limited map rotation.
Oh god, yeah. That's another big one for me. I've played the same maps, and it surprises me, and it probably surprises you too, that we have so many cool looking maps. You go on custom battles and you click on a random map that you haven't heard the name. You go into that thing, you'd be like, damn, I haven't seen this battle before. This map, and you're like, why is that?
Describing my tournament.
Yeah, but literally, that was how I saw all these maps, because I was helping you out. We're helping you get like info on the maps, and yeah, like there's some really cool maps out there that just don't get used. It was like we're talking about this game mode and this map where you push the boat. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I love that one.
Everyone loved it. Why is that not a game mode? Just call that domination.
I don't know if I loved it at the time.
I loved it. It was
felt
so good.
It felt like you were constantly scrapping, and that's where it's a game mode that it doesn't really exist right now, because you only ever fight over set points in current sieges, and if you fight out of place, you just lose.
Yeah.
And you can think of so many maps, like Dasu Fort has got A point, which is so trebbable and always is lost by the defender, and then you fight over B and C, and inevitably everybody pushes the supply point and either gets wiped or wiped, and then that's the game.
Yeah,
and there's a meta that's been established over time because people have seen, oh, this is how it works. And another thing that happens is that if you push down those stairs, you then get run over by Cav.
Yeah.
And you know it's coming. There's nothing you can do about it, and therefore you don't push, and therefore you don't fight, and it's boring.
Yep.
Totally so for me, having that map where you were pushing the boat, and what you could do as the defender is constantly kill the peasants pushing it constantly, so that it never made as much progress. But by doing that, you then got attacked by the other enemy heroes all the time, and you were scrapping.
I just remember always being in a fight, and I don't think it was allowed Cav. I don't think it was Cav allowed either. That seems to, unfortunately, in this game, make everything better.
I think... I'm not sure if Cav was allowed, but I certainly remember the boat getting in the way of a lot of stuff. So if anyone went near the boat, it would knock
you over. Yeah, I like that though, because people could really muck up and try and kill peasants, and then they accidentally go a bit close to the boat and get knocked over. It was just a great game mode, and pushing stuff like that should be a whole separate section of game mode. Like we should have siege. We should have. I mean, maybe that you should combine that into field battle or something, but. I just don't think our list of sign-up should be siege and field battle. Then I think there should be 5 different things. You should always have something fun to do that can be slightly different. Like, it's just Colosseum. Like that was fun. There was NPCs in there. There was a boss in there. I thought that was really cool. The boat push. You could do way more modes like that.
You could do loads of fun things. Like you could. To commit as a defender to try and defend the tower. Do you remember that tower on the first part of the push?
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
You could commit to that, and it would completely throw the attackers, because every man and his dog wanted to sit their longbows in that tower and just shoot everyone that was fighting. And he's like, well, you can't do that now because I'm here. What are you going to do about it? It enabled you as a 5-man to do a lot more. It would be great. It would be so good. And also, it was a great season as well, because Ottomans was a great theme.
Yeah,
great thing. We got Bombard. We got there was a story to it about how and why we were using the ships to cross the land. It was great.
I think
that was around my best time of the game.
Yeah, and I also think there would be a definite place for a game mode where, obviously, how you have in field battles you have the points that you take, and then they can retake them, and you take them. Basically, domination. If you basically, instead of having a siege where you go and take a flag and then go and take A and then you take B and then you take C and you take home, and the game's over, instead of having that, have the points that you can retake, so you're always scrapping for the castle back and forward. So like you go from being an attacker to a defender essentially a lot of the time. Instead of being a one-way push, it's an every-way push, because let's say you attack the castle with the team in, you take C, let's say, they can take C back from you by back capping or whatever, and it's just a constant back and forward. And I think that would be quite a fun, and the game wouldn't have to end straight away. Anyway, sorry, getting off track.
It's okay. I think the Colosseum one, where when you're on the point you cap, and when you step off the point you stop capping,
I like that.
Was a really good example of that mechanic existing.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible for them to implement. But new maps, I think we could do with a map every other season. I think maybe every other 2 seasons.
Yeah. You would put quite important,
but certainly better rotation. Like we haven't had Grand Gloire in ages. When was the last time you had Conqueror City?
Oh, dude, like
a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Probably.
It's been a long time. I loved Conquer City. It's such a big map. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and like people discovered one of the they really discovered coconuts in that map. Before, people had no idea why they were even in the game, and then you had one guy do his coconuts montage, and people went, "Oh my god!"
Just totally annihilating it.
He just solo won that fight on his own. I want to do that, and then loads of people started putting cocos on that particular spot. And then other people went, well, I know that they're going to put cocos there, so I'm going to get my longbows out, and I'm going to kill them before they've even... And then just evolve.
I love how the gameplay does that, though. That's what made Conqueror's Blade great, though, that one thing becomes meta, and then suddenly someone's like, nope, I'm changing that meta, and they get something else. And then someone goes, okay, if you're bringing longbows, I'm going to bring my longbows, and I'm higher than you, so I'm going to take your longbows out. And then... And it just rotates to the next thing, and it's really cool. But yes, Conquer City.
And then because there's too many longbows, the infantry pushes easily, and then they're like, oh god, I wish we didn't have so much AFK range. Oh, and it evolves. It does take a while, but unfortunately, when you have units that are so stably meta and without many counters, like Men-at-Arms, like Reapers, you end up in a quite stagnant state because they are just stronger than everything else.
Well, for the leadership, it's the problem. That is, it's 215 leadership for fully mastered Men-at-Arms. That is. I'm
going to put down 4 for maps out of 10.
Yeah, I would probably join you,
but it's not vital.
I'd join you. I think what's more important is that we've got a lot of maps already. Let's rotate them properly. Let's get them moving. And maybe you could even put a voting system in where people vote for their favorite maps, and then those get put into the rotation.
This is one of my favourite stats. People did that. They did that for the ranked maps.
Yeah.
Only one map had a positive response.
Oh, which map was that?
Curragh Castle had 54% of people saying, yes, I'm happy to play that in ranked. Every other map was negative.
Christ. Okay, well, maybe not for ranked, but let's just for normal battles. They can pick the ranked ones. Don't care.
What a stat that is!
I know.
The players hate every map in the game. People were more likely to vote for one map positively and 2 maps negatively than they were to vote for 2 maps positively and 1 negatively.
That's so crazy.
That's wild.
That's
absolutely wild.
That is so weird.
So yeah, that's a factoid there.
I would say 4 though, definitely 4.
Yep. Okay, the next ones are unit reworks and hero reworks. So this will be adjusting the heroes that currently exist and also bringing units that are not on spec
10.
And introducing mastery and things like that.
I'm going 10
Double
straight.
10s.
I'm going 10 out straight out the gates because it's the fundamental elements of the game, and you can't just leave things there is so many. Granted, if it takes a bit of time, it takes a bit of time, but you want to see some movement with it. To still have a couple of these units in the state that they're in currently, and then have the ones that are literally not worth bringing out because everything counters them, or they just don't have a place, or they're outdated and clunky compared to the modern units. That needs to be addressed very quickly, and then saying it's exactly the same with the weapons, where you've got the new weapons feel very flowy and they much thought out and much more built for the modern era, and then you've got things like spear, for example, or longbow. I'm going to call it longbow. It's called bow, but we have a short bow, so longbow. So spear that's animation locked a lot of the time. All of its abilities just feel very clunky. Granted, people still do well with it. Don't get me wrong, people do well with it and whatever, but it's just not very smooth. You could definitely smoothen it out. And then you take longbow, where you are basically in this current meta completely useless. Unless you can find someone with, not even Kriegsrats anymore, because Kriegsrats are tanky, Tercios are tanky. It's your chance to kill range is no longer a thing. You just find yourself tinging off of shields. Your best moments are when you're killing peasants at the start of a game, and that is it.
And blue meta.
Okay, blue.
I will play I'll play longbow in blue meta and have a lot of fun.
But then
as
past
soon
that,
as purples come along, done.
It's no point, is there?
So I'm going to add on to that.
Yeah.
When was the last time you? I know you're a bit of a OTP.
OTP?
With your dual blades.
Oh well, yeah.
One trick pony.
One trick pony.
Well,
Yes.
I'm stood in Orgolia right now, and next to me is one of my old house leaders.
Okay.
And he showed me how to properly play short sword. I have not changed abilities that I use on short sword since then, and that was season 5.
And he's got
So
different
10 seasons
abilities.
ago. No. I've used the same abilities.
Oh, he's
for
gone.
10
He showed you how to
seasons.
play it properly, but the abilities haven't changed for 10 seasons.
Yeah, I've used the same abilities for 10 seasons because there's been nothing better. There's been no alternatives. There's been no progression in that.
Well, like
And
that.
I've had a look at them, and they're not as good.
Yeah.
So there needs to be reworks in that.
100%. Like if you go through most of the weapons, okay, short sword. Would you ever use the other ultimate?
No.
Uh,
I would never use Centurion's battle drill.
how many weapons, like musket, would you ever not use black powder grenade?
No.
Unless you were
realistically.
trolling, like just having a bit of fun with 5-round rapid. There are so many.
Coffee mentioned Hail of Blades. He wants to use it, but he doesn't because it just feels so weak compared to Flying Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pike, realistically, Green Dragon is the only one people use.
Yeah.
They don't use Cold Dragon.
Spear. Spear is the only ultimate, or one of the only ultimates that can be blocked by a normal, just someone putting a shield up.
I
Dragon.
heard you say this. A lot of ultimates can be blocked, but they don't tend to be. So Bar Strike from Poleaxe can be blocked.
Can belly flop be blocked?
No, it can't.
Um,
The Nadachi Avalanche can be blocked. Longsword Sally Forth, I think. can be
okay, but
blocked.
what I'm saying is,
No, it
does
can't
any
be
other
blocked.
class have one that both can be blocked?
Short bow? Question mark.
Shortbow. Yeah, sure. Okay, shortbow. But that's like, I will forgive that because
Yeah, it's only. You're right. It's only spear that both can be blocked.
But yeah, and I'm sorry, whoever designed Heaven's Fury for spear, like, okay, let me do an ability that does really high damage, but
outdated.
after the second hit, it pushes you away. Like,
And unless you're backed into a wall or a corner, I am going to miss most of my damage.
yes, if I can specifically trap baby in a corner, and get my Heaven's Fury rolling. Sorry, that's a very niche reference.
Yeah.
And and then use that and get the full pump of damage into the person in the corner. It's just not worth using. And then you try and use it against units. You're like, okay, well, this must be the spear's unit killing ability. Ding, 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 ding.
Into an Imperial Spearguard shield. It just does nothing.
It's just dumb. And
so
then you
frustrating.
go to do your spin. You go, okay, Heaven's Fury is not for me. I want Dragon's Roar. There's a long sword. You start doing your Hurricane's Edge where your animation locked for a year. You're landing a few, then you go right out of that, going into a Dragon's Roar, and he goes shield up, and it's into a shield.
Yep.
And that's it. And then you see someone else jump out. You see a long sword or a short sword belly flop, charge into someone, insta knock them over. Poleaxe Rough Justice someone. A Dual Blades Mark for Death someone. Oh yeah, Dual Blades wouldn't actually ever use the Dance of Death. So as well, another
we
waste
did it in a
ability.
video one time.
I mean the 90% slow is quite funny. But you're a Dual Blades and light armor, so they still can kill you if you can't lock them down.
I'm 90% slow you for 1 second, which obviously helps.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a
okay.
video. That was a hell of a video. That was so funny.
That was very fun to film.
Yeah.
Right, so that's hero and unit rework. Runes.
Runes, I think they could have a set menu, right? Of a few that they like. The thing they've got to avoid is releasing the same runes, or at least a full stack of the same runes. If you release one of the same ones from last season, not an issue. But it's when you get the 3 runes that you get for the season that are specific to your weapon, and you get them again, the same 3. If you get one of the
With
same,
96%
you're not going to care.
consistency.
Like, that's fine. But at least one of the runes, they should attempt to do something fun with. You know, if you like those runes for that class, that is fine. But I think always, every season, at least one of your runes should be different. Even if you don't like it and it's not for you, at least it's different. And you still have your other ones to go and give a go to. I will say this Avalon season, some runes have changed, so that is a benefit, but it's not for everybody.
Okay.
So,
I haven't
but
seen the runes that have changed.
Yeah, there's a few Nadachi ones, and yeah.
Oh, great! Yeah, very Avalon season.
There you go, boys.
Oh.
Enjoy. Just buy the battle pass and you're away.
Okay, there we go. So I think you're right, but I think it's about 5 out of 10 because it already exists.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
need much change, but it does need some change.
It actually doesn't need any change. They have all of them on a book somewhere. They have all the ones they've released over the past, well, what did it come out? Season 6 runes came out. Just have a look at what you've released in the past. Maybe the ones that were a bit too overpowered, nerf them down, but re-release them. Have a bit of fun.
Yep.
Maybe don't release
you
that
mentioned it
musket
there.
one. Maybe don't release the
yes.
musket one. Everyone that's played for long enough, when I say musket one, will realize what I mean about that.
Tossing garbage.
Oh my god, I've never been covered in grenade juice so much. It was a hateful time. I think it came out. I think that was out the same time as Axe Raiders as well. That added so much insult to injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a good time as a musket main. It was a good time.
I bet it was.
Okay, battle pass.
Yep. Battle pass.
How much do they need to put into it compared to what they're currently doing?
It's a really tricky one because I feel like
I'm gonna throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this season's battle pass was better than previous seasons.
How so?
We actually got blades.
Yeah.
We whenever you go through it, obviously there's a huge difference between the paid one and the free one.
Yeah, but it
felt all right.
I did like the
That might just be me.
I did like the emote. I thought that was a very cool emote. That's very good for making thumbnails for videos.
Okay.
I did like the seasonal unit attire. I think that was a cool one as well. For once in a while, it was the first one that I've looked at and actually been excited to get a unit attire. I don't know if I ever saw unit medals in the battle passes before. Maybe I just avoided looking at them, but that's quite good to see. I also like the fact you get 2 epic schematic boxes now, 65 and 90. That's cool. I don't think that's always been a thing. I don't think.
No, I think it used to be 1.
There used to just be 1 at 90. Yeah, I could agree with that. How many blades do I have? Okay,
but compare it to previous season, it was a big step up.
I think Sengoku had a terrible
season,
one, actually.
Yeah. Having purchased everything I want to purchase from the seasonal store, I've still got 2,400 left.
So if something falls
I'm happy with that.
I mean, next season's seasonal store is not that great because it's the replica from the Scorpion season.
Oh. Okay.
So I didn't particularly like that armor or those weapons. So I'm avoiding the. I'll probably have a lot of blades left over after the season, though. That's, I guess, is a good thing.
Yeah, there's always the season after. Okay, so battle pass. How much? I think it's maybe another 5, as in don't change anything, keep as they are.
Yeah, I think you need to have them. As I said, unless you totally change something up. But there's a reason why battle pass systems work, and a lot of games have battle passes. Yeah, the only thing that's different in some battle pass, and I will say I'd like to see it for the free players. If you look at like New World's battle pass, that you have to, you can get the premium version or the free version, but even in the free version, every few levels you get the New World's version of sovereigns.
Okay.
Like small amount. Like it'd be the equivalent to getting 100 sovereigns. But let's say they've got it there, and at the end of the battle pass you end up with something like 500 or 1,000 sovereigns, right? Let's say you buy the premium thing, you end up with 1,000 sovereigns.
I I'll flip it, which is not requesting them do sovereigns, but I'd say give them previous season unlock tokens.
Oh,
You
what?
know
So
those
they can
challenge and unlock ones.
so you can unlock some units.
Yeah,
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I think that'd be
'cause that's
maybe
the equivalent of
yeah.
100 softs.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Actually, that's actually a much better. I like that a lot. Just giving free players a chance to get an easy unlock, just a challenge out the way. If they do the battle pass, maybe you put like 2 or 3 of them in the entire battle pass, and that's
Yeah.
that just moves
The reason
them
I
along.
say that is there's certain challenges. If you are a free to play casual player, you might never log in when death matches and free battles are available.
Yeah, no, I totally
And
agree.
therefore, there are 3 to 4 challenges that you just can't do, and that feels bad.
And if that just
Okay,
gives you the opportunity, so that I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
so I've got another topic here that I know you're not overly invested in, but many people are, me included. It's territory war.
I have been invested in territory war back in the past. I've just struggled lately with it. One, because a lot of my friends that I used to do territory wars with are not playing anymore. That doesn't always matter. Like I'm fine doing it. There's a little bit of time commitment nowadays because I didn't have a girlfriend when I started doing territory war, and now weekends are totally off the card, so I can only do Tuesdays. And then with streaming and doing YouTube at the same time, there's a very small window that I can really get my teeth stuck into that thing. But I would like to get back into it. But I just also the biggest thing, I don't feel like it's worth it. I want to take a city. My fantasy is that the house takes a city, and that is our city. We can put the banners up. We can choose where those goes. We got a little we got a room with all our achievements on, and we actually have a value benefit on holding our city. What I don't like is this thing where take a city, move on, next one, take a city, move on, and just greening the map, and then you get to the end, you're like, wow, we've had a great thing, and then you just lose all your cities. They're all gone. That's because you don't care. You just don't care. I want to care about the city that the house has. Really invest in it and be like, okay, so like when you have control over the city, the more people the more housemates that put in the work with Thief quests and like resources and stuff like that, we can like put out NPCs. We can actually choose. Like we got defend and deploy. You can pre-game the match and go, right, I'm going to put the muskets here, our NPC muskets here, because we've saved up for these. These halberdiers are going to be here. These are all the NPCs, but like the more we invest, the better NPCs we can put in there. But we can actually choose. They don't just run out the gates directly to get killed by Fortebracios.
So have we moved on from territory war to now open world?
No. This is
in general.
This is territory war. This is like.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I want to just care about the city, and I want you to have more customization on the city, and like. You have AI already with the city, but all they do is run out. They just run out the gates and get themselves killed.
As a defender of Borgolia, the 5 or 6 units of tertios that spawn and just sit on home point are quite fun.
That's fine. That's fine because they
gun anyone down.
They're doing. I mean, that's great. But they're doing what you'd probably do if you were allowed to choose before a battle where all your NPCs, all your sort of bots or AI goes. You would still put your tertios there, right? But like what you wouldn't do is have the Imperial spears that you've saved up for in your house have all put in resources to have these AI Imperial spears. You wouldn't have them just running out the gates, would you? You would have them braced up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying, is to be able to customize your city because you've got that city and it's worth something to you, and you've all put in extra resources and the time and the thing. You've got your banners up and all this sort of thing in the city, and your city's got some. Well, this would mean like a open world rework to like crafting and farming. But what I'm saying is that city. Let's say that city's got value, like in terms of artillery or something like that. You're invested in keeping it. And you put in the effort, you put these units down, as well as having your 15 stack men. So you're actually like, you're not taking the city from us. This is ours. That's my 2 cents on that.
I'd love to have that customizability, and I think it would also encourage more small groups of people to form those houses and find reward in taking and holding land, which I would like to see a number of like 15 to 20 man houses owning a village, and then inviting people and being like trade merchants for people to come and visit. I know you mentioned this, and it's a lot of it comes from like other games like New World, such as, which is where you have a lot of control over how the territory is arranged. And I want to bring this on to open world stuff, where we have got little to no open world grind required in this game.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest is that certain weapons or armor can only be crafted in certain regions. So whether or not you have the Master Craftsman for the Paladin set, which is the poleaxe one.
Yeah. I see where you're going with this.
Only available in Shaken, which is the city just south of Conqueror's Blade.
I would rebuttal.
I tell you now, you are going to have every major house fighting over that place.
That is a great idea.
It's the only place they can rework it.
That is a great idea.
You can then potentially have like a special resource that needs to be gathered and brought to the smith. And that can only be gathered from all the 4 regions.
That would make farming, if farming outside, where you take your serfs outside and you actually go and do like resource gathering, if that actually impacted on you making gear, I think that would be one way to totally revitalize the open world and auction house.
Yeah, the auction house is dead.
Oh, it's totally dead.
You mentioned with coffee, you've never made a unit kit. It used to be profitable, but then they introduced these unit kit boxes, and now everyone's got every unit kit box they need. They also introduced house funds, and everyone's got
copper,
unlimited funds.
Yeah, copper bronze. Sorry, you got so much bronze that you never. Yeah. Why would you ever spend bronze and silver making unit kits unless there was any benefit? You know, maybe you say if you resupply your units with unit kits, they are immune to taking any unit kit damage for the day.
Yeah, that could be a nice way of doing it. Or they have a lower chance of losing it.
Yeah, or a lower chance of losing it.
Or how about a stat buff? Like a 2 or 5% stat buff?
I think as soon as you start doing that, I feel like I mean, it's cool and all.
It builds an economy.
It will build an economy, but it also new players and people that don't understand or have time. It just makes some balancing issues. I think if you make it a something that doesn't increase the power of the unit, but just longevity in sort of unit kits, then I think that might be the best way to make them thing. I like the idea though. Maybe if you make it not damage, maybe something like speed or something that's not impactful on the actual damage the unit does or the damage it takes.
Leadership cost?
Oh, see, that could be good. If you resupply a unit with unit kits, you get
for every one you used, it reduces its leadership by 1%.
Yeah, because then the max it would be... But then wouldn't you intentionally go and get your... You would get your unit as low as possible to do it.
Oh, that would be a weird way of cheesing it.
Yeah.
I
you'd have to do it to a
if
percentage.
If 50% of the unit is supplied with unit kits that
I think you would have to redesign the way that unit kits work. So instead of saying your unit's lost 50% of its unit kits, you always just have to add in 5 unit kits. It doesn't matter where they're at. You boom 5 in, and they will get fully restocked to 100%, and they get that little leadership buff that caps out at, let's say, 10%.
I think it would be tricky because I sit here now with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full stacks of epic unit kit selection boxes.
But what do you get one from those.
What am I doing with them?
Are you going to respawn?
I'd love the ability to rapidly open more than one of them, but I'm sat here with too many for that mechanic to influence me too much. But in the interest of time,
Yes.
personally, I think Territory War in the open world needs a 20 out of 10. I think it needs a massive, massive, massive overhaul.
I think that could do with its own season.
Open world. Yeah. But have you seen what's happening on Booming?
No, what's happening? I know what's going on there.
They're opening a new server.
Right.
And on the new server, let me just get up the report. They are setting up what's called a test bench server, which with an adjusted TW system, where there will be smaller territories. So there's something that's going, and it's just a test. It's not going to be implemented on all the servers, but it means that they have made some progress there. So we might not get it this season, but we might get it next season for a different style of Territory War, which could be cool.
That's a good test bench, because if it does go really successfully, then they could base the entire thing off of it. That would be really, really nice. But yes, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Territory War make a positive change. Yeah.
Okay, so Territory War, what score do you think it needs?
It is technically end game, so I'd probably put it at 10. Like, because it is so. Yeah. I think it's so god awful and so bad at the moment that it needs to be somewhere higher. It needs to be it needs to be the goal that everyone's pushing towards, is to do that.
Yep. And open world,
like farming and general open world like that.
The general open world, which includes the way you set up your territories.
A 10. Like the open 10, world has needed a rework forever as well. It's awful. The way you farm, the way you gather, it's such an interesting system that you take serfs with you because they have extra gathering capabilities. Yeah. Love that. Think that's awesome. But the way that you go to any node and it's sort of taken, or it's all gone, you just can't go out and put some Netflix on or put some Spotify on, a podcast, maybe Plumcast, and you go out and farm. It feels like there's too much effort to go and do that when you have to scan the map for a place that isn't going to rip you off because it costs too much bronze, and 2 actually has resources left in it. Now I know you have a tendency to go and
not anymore.
Not anymore.
To, yeah.
But setting a timer and then going over to the thing. Now that's good for some people, but it can't work for everything else. And one thing I used to like in other games is just being able to go around, and there was a node. There was like a copper node or an iron node, and I'd just mine it. I'd mine it, and then I'd move on and continue farming and put my Netflix on and just watch it while I go around the map and I farm. And then I take that back to a city and I put it on the auction house, or I convert it into bars and then into ingots, and then I put it on the auction house and I sell it, and then I go do the same again and actually have a market that works like that. That would be great.
Yep, it would be.
Yeah.
I have been dying for a change to the open world for a very long time. Okay, next point is weapon and unit attire skins.
Look, as much as I enjoyed them, and as I said, it was the thing I looked forward to every season, if it's going to take away from them putting more effort into the other stuff we've given 10s, I do not mind 3 a season. It's just, as I said earlier, it's where you get them from is where I have the problem. How about you?
I think they do bring something to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the ones are really pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And they've not had many that have fallen flat lately.
No, they all look good.
I'm not a fan of you have a 0.1% chance of unlocking this from gold keys, though. I don't like the idea that people are spending hundreds of dollars.
We're getting into legendary attires.
Unlock the legendaries. I
can get big into this.
I get it gives me a sour taste in my mouth at the idea of that.
Totally agree.
However, I do like what they've done sometimes, which is, for example, the vault key hand-ins where you see that all the possibilities of what you can possibly unlock,
and you tick them off as you go.
Then you tick them off as you go.
Yeah.
As long as, and this is the requirement for what I want here, as long as you cannot get duplicates. If you can ever get duplicates, fuck off.
Yeah.
Get out of town.
I totally agree.
People do not want duplicates in this situation.
I think, this... So, I don't know if you saw this, but one of the streams when I was on the PTR, obviously you get given like 100,000 sovereigns. We went to get the legendary longsword attire. And I started with, 85,000 sovereigns. By the time I got the attire, I was at 32,000.
About £500?
It was 460 quid.
Equivalent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No.
Like, to me, as soon as it jumps over... This might be even too high still. As soon as it jumps over... For a legendary attire, as soon as it jumps over that £80 mark, it's getting ridiculous. Like, to the point of... No, stop. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. You know what I mean? Even then seems a bit high, but that's where I play this game for all the time. It's basically my only game of play. I'm very invested in it, so I would be fine spending £80 on something that I really like. I'm not going to do it for everyone, but if they came out with a legendary dual blades, I'm like, okay, I play dual blades all the time. It's my favorite thing. I'd be okay, but when you start talking about 400, 500 English Queen Elizabeth pounds...
That's a lot of cups of tea.
It's a lot of tea, a lot of Yorkshire tea, Yorkshire Gold. And that, that's not gonna cut it. So I totally agree with you. They need to get rid of this percentage thing, have a list of things you can get, and then as you get them, it gets ticked off. And then I would even like a bad luck protection where when you go over a certain cap of sovereigns...
Oh, God.
It just... it gives...
I've got something else to mention after now.
You go.
No, bad luck protection, I think it needs to be in place. Firstly, because this isn't a gambling site, but it is bordering on gambling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
It is gambling, and you need licenses for that kind of stuff.
Do you know how they get away with them not saying it's gambling?
It can ruin people's lives.
Oh, 100%. Do you know how they get away with saying it's not gambling, though? Because when you get duplicates, this is why this was added. They get turned into fragments, and then fragments you can turn into golden keys that you can use to do it again. And then
roll again.
When you get fragments, you can also get curioses that you can eventually use to buy the thing outright. So technically, it's not gambling.
Okay.
But it is gambling.
I'm not a fan because I think it ruins people's lives. I know people that are in significant amounts of debt because of games like this.
Mate, so we've all done it where we're sitting there, and I've done it. When I first started, I did it, and everyone who's played these games has done it. Where there's something in a box that you're like, I want it, I really want it, and so you go and grab yourself maybe 2,000 sovereigns, right? And you eat through those sovereigns, and then you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'll do it one more. I'll do it again, but then no more. That's me, and you do it, and you don't get it, and then you go away for a little bit, and you come back and you see it again. You're like, oh, one more try. Go on then. I'll do it. I'll go in again, and by the time you haven't realized it, you've gone and spent 100 or 150 quid on sovereigns because over that time you've just kept looking at it and wanting it. And it's dangerous. It is dangerous, and I am fine if they say this is the price, you can buy it, or you don't have to buy it. But as I said, there needs to be a bad luck protection that once you've hit a certain amount of sovereigns, it's just yours. You know how like they gave you in those fortune favors, fortune
I know the one you mean.
Where they give you the plums.
You had ones you could buy with bronze, ones you could buy with silver, and once you'd handed in 160 of them, you were guaranteed the top tier prize.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Apart from with that one, they gave you 2 options, and I got the worst one, so I was very sad.
But yeah, that's what I think needs to happen. The other one was that I was going to say was let's take the monkey attire for example. You got these from the Fortune's Favor. You got these. I think they were actually called plums. That's funny enough. But once every time you spent some sovereigns, you got these plums, and then eventually you would have enough plums just to buy it. After it was there. Granted, it was too many. It was too many for what it was, but the same sort of system where you know that you're happy to spend this. I know that at that point, if I don't get lucky with the percentages and get it early, I'm going to get it because that's what I'm happy to spend on it.
Yep.
I think is fine. And the game's got to make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally...
It does, yeah.
It's a free game. If you want to play this whole game, you don't care about attires and you don't do that and you don't do this, you can play this game for free so easily and still compete. The top units in the game at the moment are free honor units that you don't even need to do challenges to unlock. So, yeah.
Okay, so out of 10, what do we give weapon and unit attires?
I think they're important to draw people in. I think there should be more free ones, 100%. But in terms of the box ones, sovereign ones, not.
I think it's a 7 or an 8.
I'm gonna go 6.
I think it's
for me.
Okay.
The box ones, I don't think they're important because the game needs to make money. But I would say the battle pass and the ones that are obviously don't cost a lot of money or don't cost any money are much more important because people when they have those events on for those attires, they seem to have much more drive to go and get them. There was the samurai set, white samurai set.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, free. You just did the event.
And people played a lot of sieges.
People wanted it. And that's, I was saying last night actually that I'd love them to add a lot of more free attires that you just do hard challenges. Because I was saying in WoW, one of my favorite memories is seeing someone in some amazing raid gear. And you're like, damn, look at that guy. And I'd like these free sets that you can't get anywhere else. You cannot pay money for them, but it's like an achievement, it's in your career achievements, and you've done this really hard challenge to get this set, and you can sit and wear it. It doesn't look like any other set. You sit and wear it, and people come past you and go, "Wow, I want to get that set." And then they look at the challenges that they need to do, or they look at the big achievement that you need to do to get it, and they work towards it, and they get themselves that set. And I think they need to add way more things like that in the game.
We only have a few of those in the game right now.
Yeah.
And they are for elite endgame players.
But are they just recolors?
No, they're quite unique. So I think they're referred to as the monarch skins.
Right.
Each of the regional capitals, the leader of the house, as long as they have got the monarch title for the house that holds that regional capital, gets a unique skin.
Right. Okay.
They're pretty cool.
I didn't actually know about those.
We'll see if we can research those. They're not common, but they're out there.
If I manage to find a picture, I'll put it on screen now.
Yeah, we'll sort that out.
Yeah.
What's the thing I was thinking about? Some of my friends are still addicted to RuneScape.
I used to be addicted.
I remember just being sat in a Discord call, and he just went, "Oh!" Massive intake of breath, and went, "That guy has," and then rattled off a name of a cape, and he went, "That cape is only given to people who have done this incredible unique thing."
200 million experience across all your skills.
And he was just losing his mind. It's I've never seen one in the game, and he's got a lot of 99 attribute scores.
But now in RuneScape they go 99, and then it's past. You go past 99. That doesn't change, but you go 99.
Oh, he's old school.
With two. Yeah. That's what I mean. Old school is the only way to play. I wouldn't ever play RuneScape 3. You go 99, but 99 with 200 million experience, and that means your experience stops gaining because you go once you get to 99, the experience still moves, but you have to go to 200 million.
Jeez.
And that doesn't change your level, or you can't do anything more. It's just bragging rights. And if you get all of them to 200 million, and this puts things in perspective, 99 is 15 million.
Yeah.
So to get to 200 million, you're doing 99 another like 14 times on that one ability.
So he basically was like having a real fanboy moment over this guy.
Yeah.
And then every now and then he'll send a picture to our group about the next pet that he got, which was like a 1 in 30,000 drop from killing a boss that he'd killed or something. So there's that level of MMO.
I like
this
that.
This game just doesn't get there, but it could. It definitely could. It doesn't seem to. All we've got is these little titles above our heads, which are cool and all.
Do you know how much it means to players? Like you, as you just said, with the RuneScape, and me with the WoW, when you see someone that has something that is not bought, not paid for with real money, it's not done. It's purely from either lucky drop. They've got super lucky, like 30, as you said, like 0.1% chance from that killing that boss to get that pet that he's now flaunting around town. That does nothing for him. It does nothing for him, but it is purely just a flex that he got lucky. And then the other one is obviously with challenges, personal challenges. Let's say, something like getting 50,000 hero kills. That one's just going to happen eventually, but you can make a reasonably nice attire for that or something like that. Like, I've always wanted, this goes on, we'll be quick with this, but I've always wanted them to bring back bosses for PvE. I think PvE in this game can be made good. And so, like, I really wanted, like, a PvE raid where you take a unit in, you get given a unit by the game, you go in, there's 3 bosses, first, second boss, you're in a 5-man group, and you use your units in the right way, and you don't get a new unit, so you've got to make it last in a way, and then so bosses will randomly like cav charge you, and you've got to be set up for it. There's tactics, there's rolling, similar to like when you go into Colosseum and the big boss does this big red move where he's like going to slam his thing down and it wipes everything. You've got to move away, so you've got to have unit discipline, hero discipline, and you fight it with your 5 friends, and you move on to the next boss, and then you get something at the end. I've just wanted some cool PvE content put into the game that I feel like it really, really needs, because PvE is boring, but it could be good. So maybe something like that, you kill the boss at the end, and there's a very low chance that you're going to get this cool attire or even a pet to sit around town with, like a little dog that follows you around.
But doesn't that remind you of the good old days of Conqueror's Blade, where you saw that gold unit in a siege?
Oh yeah, when I saw my
and
first
you were like,
Wings
my god, we're gonna lose.
We're gonna die, yeah.
And now we're just so desensitized to it.
Yeah, you don't even feel good when you kill a full stack of gold anymore. Like when you beat, the only time you get that good feeling is if you take like a tier 3 and somehow you outmatch. You find a way to sneak around the back of a gold and you kill someone's full gold with like mace sergeants or something, and you're like, so that feels good. But like, yeah, it's just the excitement of seeing the enemy team turn up with wings Zars or flamethrowers or falconettis or something like that, and you're like, if you think it was bad now when you bring falconettis and people try and dive you, back in the day it was like being in World War Z. If you bought falconettis out, they would leap off the wall, leave their unit. It didn't matter. All that mattered to them was that your falconettis got killed. And it'd be like watching zombies run towards you getting killed. And when you only had one ult.
And then it'd be #worth. #worth in all chat.
God, yeah. It used to irritate me so much.
Easy.
Easy, yeah. Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah. Stay on target, Plum.
Sorry,
on target.
Sorry. Okay, go.
It's alright, mate. I'm happy to have a chat. Balance. Just general balance of the game.
I think that's got to be of high importance. However, I think when it comes to units, I don't really mind. But when it comes to heroes, I think we should always be looking to find the people that are low down and bring them up instead of bringing the person at the top down.
Yep.
I feel like that's always a much better system when it comes to heroes.
It's a real power creep that way, though.
It can be, but if that guy is at the top of your power, and you're just bringing people near him or just touching his feet, then at least, you're just not gonna then suddenly destroy him and he's gone. And then now you're starting the cycle. You're making the cycle worse for yourself because you've now nerfed him, and now he's at the bottom of the pile, and then people complain, and now you have to bring him back up, and you just start the washing machine of nerfing and buffing things. Where if you just say, right, he's at the power level, let's just slowly, and I mean slowly, like, I hate it when they do this massive buff or this, whatever, or the massive nerf. If you're going to buff or nerf things, 1 week, try 5%. Then, if it's not good enough, give him another 5%. Like, slowly. Piano. That's the way I feel about it.
Quietly.
No, I mean slowly. Piano. Slowly.
I'm sure it means quietly.
Is that quietly? Is it? I thought that's slowly. Piano. Slowly.
Yeah, it means quiet.
It means slowly, it doesn't mean quiet. Okay, wait, let's not get into language. I'm dyslexic.
Sorry, dyslexia got in the way there.
Okay. Sorry, I was making a good point in terms of
giving balance. I do think that balance is a key thing. I think you must balance from the top down, though. So you need to balance on what is the strongest and in relevance to what is the weakest. You can't balance something on the case of, it has a 50% win rate, therefore fine, because we've explained that in previous chats and my podcast, self-plug.
Yes, plug away.
That when people come back and say, but it's got a 50% win rate, when you look at the match that the unit contained and you had 15 on one side and 15 on the other, yes, it is going to have a 50% win rate because half of the players lost and half the players won.
Well, exactly.
So
it's a stupid way to balance it.
There's a pinch of salt, and there's a way in which they need to approach the data, which I don't think they're doing, and they're also being so hidden with the data that really frustrates me.
Well, some abilities on units, you have no idea what they actually do, because it doesn't tell you any information. It's like
no, and we have to work it out.
You have to work it out. Like, is that unit hitting two things, or is it hitting one thing, or does it block break, or does it do this? It just doesn't tell you. It's like I want better breakdowns than the list where the lump gets bigger towards one direction, and you're like, what does that mean?
I'm gonna add another section to our list.
Okay.
Which is communication. How much communication do they need to do, and how important is communication going to be?
This is going to be a
what score do we get balance? And then what do we do for communication?
Balance needs to be, I would say, an 8 or a 9. Only say an 8 or a 9 because, and not a 10, because I think you don't want it to be so regular that, you're playing your class, you're having a happy time, and then suddenly next week you're terrible, and then a week after that you're up again, and then you're down again, and I just don't think that's I think it should be done slowly, small increments, until you get to a stage where there's a finite amount and everybody feels on a good level. You're never going to be 100% balanced, it's just not the way it's going to work, but slowly, in terms of like small amounts at a time, but often enough that you're making a difference. Like, if there's a lot of people with men-at-arms that are like, men-at-arms are totally just, there's just a fundamental issue. Let's sort them out quicker. It was too long of a period between that. What was the next section you put in? Communication. Now, this one for me is going to be awkward, and it's going to be controversial. I think communication is very important if the people communicating know what they're talking about.
I think you're quite right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Because unless you've played the game at a proper level, not as a proper, like, not that I'm a Giga Chad or anything, or going to get ridiculous kills, or like I'm actually any good at the game. But I would say I played enough hours, and I mean, it's the only game I play pretty much. And you after a certain amount of time, you gain a sort of a set of knowledge where you can instantly see what's wrong and what's right and where it needs to be going and whatever. Like, I think you would say the same, wouldn't you, Drayton?
I agree.
So but then it's not insulting is the wrong word, but it's like, it's frustrating when, if you're getting fed information and the person doesn't even know where, I don't know, the honor store is, or this is like the fundamental, like very small things you would know from playing for a couple of, maybe a couple of days, that you would learn where that is. And it's like you're being fed information by someone that doesn't actually play the game. I don't know. I want to get your 2 cents before I get myself banned.
Yeah. So I'll bring an example from my real world.
Okay, go.
Which is that I had one of my colleagues say that he can never have respect for a boss who knows less than he does about a subject, which is a very weird thing to say. And I just remember looking and going, that is a very weird thing to say. But a lot of people are like that, which is that if you are meant to be in charge or have authority in a situation and you are not competent at your job, a lot of people do struggle with it. And the level of competency that we're looking for as the community who are watching, the representatives of the community, is that we want it to be an accurate representation of what we enjoy and what we see and experience. It is not when it is bot games. It is not an accurate representation when you have players who are extremely high level using cinematic cam or using kill cam.
Yep. Oh god, when you see that pop up instantly.
And it is not an accurate representation, because a lot of us feel very passionately about this game and the qualities that it does have and where it falls short. And as much as we want to lift it up, it is almost impossible for people to hide their frustration when it is being pulled, when it's being held back by certain things.
You are so right with that.
And it is a real shame about the way it is, but it's also the reality.
Yeah. You're so right with the bot games. Like when you see an event going on that is covered, or information that's covered by people that work for the company, and you're like, right, you probably you want to be seeing them actually fighting against players, and and actually, like,
want to see them selling the game.
Yeah,
want to see the game sold.
Get a sense of what the game's actually like. But then you watch it, and as you said, they're killing bots that are just standing still. And at the end of the game, they're sat there with 20 hero kills and whatever. And that is not the game. It is not the game whatsoever. It's even worse when you see them die to the bots.
Yeah, and it's a shame. So for me, communication is quite big. Yeah, I think they got better, and then unfortunately last season, but due to the cyber attacks, it was unfortunate. But they did retreat completely. They buried their head in the sand. Yeah, well, I think they were at DEFCON 6, weren't they? They were trying to sort everything out at once and thought the best. That was literally the worst thing they could have done. If you were literally just transparent with the player base, there would be a good percentage of the player base that would be like, "Oh, fair enough. Feel sorry for you. That's fine. Yeah. Just let us know when it's fixed." People would have, but by just not saying anything and being complete, like, it would have taken one live stream. By not saying anything, all of us are just, all this speculation and rumor goes around, and you probably just lost like a good percentage of your player base, because they're like, well, the game's dead, whatever, and
they leave, and then then they fix it, and it's like, granted, the compensation's nice, the saying sorry, but I forget that. Just come on 1 or 2 live streams and go, okay, guys, this is what's going on currently. We've got this attack happening here. That's why the servers have been thinking we're getting in there to try and sort it out. We just don't want to go, like inhibit into their demands. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we are trying to get this resolved as quickly as possible. And we really appreciate you guys hanging around with us and whatever. That's all it would fucking take. And everyone would be like, right, okay, yeah, so, fair enough. No one likes to be cyber attacked. That's pretty awful.
I'm gonna pull another example that I've recently was exposed to. During my trip to Japan, I was given a guest lecture by the CEO and entrepreneur of a company called Euglena.
Okay.
Horrible name to pronounce. And basically, it's a nutritional substance that has animal protein and plant-based nutrients in it. So it's the best of both, and it's basically for very nutrient-deprived areas to then have a like drought-ridden or it's like an emergency food.
It's like one of those peanut bars, isn't it?
Alive. Like
similar to that,
high
protein, high fat.
Seaweedy, more seaweed-like.
Oh.
Nice. And this guy gave a talk, and he said one of the things that they implemented at his company in the last 3 years was a new form of CFO, and where everyone in the room was just like, oh, Chief Financial Officer. He said, no, it's not Chief Financial Officer. It's Chief Future Officer.
Right.
And this person had to be below the age of 18 years old.
Okay.
And they were there to give the perspective of someone outside of the norm, because everyone in the room was around the same age, had around the same background, had around the same education, and were out of touch with what actually people wanted. Okay. And they implemented this. They were getting suggestions from these 16-year-olds that they never even thought were valid. And the best one is, let's say, their publication, the way they advertise themselves.
Yeah.
Where the original board were like, right, we'll put it in newspapers, we'll put billboards up on big skyscrapers, and then the youngsters come along and say, you need to put it on TikTok. What are you doing?
And it
you
probably
need to put it on short form social media.
And did it work?
And it took off.
Yeah, there you go.
It did massive, because they had this other perspective that the old farts, in this case, didn't want to do. And what this game does is it needs to talk to people, and it needs to be quite picky with who it talks to. I don't want to criticize some of the other content creators, but some of the stuff they spout is just nonsense. And it's really difficult to sit by and watch as they just are constantly negative, and they're constantly going, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they never even attempt to get a position of understanding. And the reason they don't do it is because they're never given one. They're never given what you suggested, which is a live stream to basically say, guys, this is what's happening. Yeah. We are being attacked by someone who has specialist knowledge beyond our skills. We're sinking, we're treading water, and we're getting help. We have already employed these people, they're coming in, we've got specialists of our own, we're going to do everything we can, and we're going to keep you updated when we can. All they needed to do was that. And we know what we would have, and what we did do, and what a large number of the community did, is we stopped being annoyed at the situation. We started to sympathise when we heard the details of what was happening, because it was just like, these are just regular people who have been attacked by a complete specialist. And I'm sorry, a specialist wins in those situations. Is expected to win.
I said it in because there was a stage where I couldn't get a video out because obviously we couldn't play the game. So I made a video just to explain the situation to everyone. And I even said in that, because we had just found out the information, or it just managed to trickle through that it was that they were being attacked. And, I did say I felt sorry for them. Like, I was like, it's a bad situation. But then, in the comments, people were like, oh, I don't feel sorry, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, just, a lot of these people are just trying to do their jobs. Granted, there's a lot of things that they could do better with their jobs, even though it's probably led to sort of a higher up not allowing them to really sort of access their full potential in the game. But you never know. But nonetheless, imagine you're sitting at your PC and you're having to spend hours. You want to do something on your PC. You want to play a game. You want to go on Steam. You want to do whatever. And you are now having to fight against someone hacking into your PC for days and days. And then to add insult to injury, your boyfriend, wife, girlfriend, whatever, behind you is constantly berating you at the same time. You're getting shouted at because you're not around a lot or whatever, and you need to fix this. And that's essentially,
or your boss is micromanaging.
Or your boss is micromanaging you.
It's all. Ugh.
And so I did feel sorry for them. Getting stuck in that sort of situation sucks. But communication, if we're going back to the topic, is a 10. It needs to be. They need to communicate, even if they get someone that is cool-headed, knows the game. Even if they know the game relatively well, not to the full 4,000 hours extent, just relatively well. That can keep a cool head with it. Just need to come on live stream. Get him, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that wouldn't even need to be paid to do this role. You just jump on the live stream and they fill you in on the information of what's going on.
That would be the dream, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
No. And it's all really annoying because the reason why we do these podcasts, you do the podcast, I do the videos, I stream as much as I can, and I play this game as much, is because I really love this game, and the potential of this game is the main thing. It's the only reason why we do this. My first videos, it's just because I wanted to showcase a game that I like, and that I saw potential in, and that kind of hooked me in a way that made a bit of a passion, and has now led into a lot of streaming and a lot of YouTube and whatever. So when it's not being treated with the utmost delicate and yet tender care that it needs, it upsets the people that care about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it really does.
It really does.
Oh, what a sour note.
I don't know. How do we bring this up for the last? Because we're going to end this podcast really soon, but I feel like we can't end on that note. We can't end on that note.
Shall I? What I'll do is I'll make you a pie chart, and
right.
You need to talk for a couple of minutes while I do it.
No, we don't need a pie chart. We don't need a pie chart. I was going to end on a note of, but I don't know if it's going to end badly if I say this. I don't know if it's going to end badly, but I'm going to ask you anyway. And if it does end badly, then I will ask you to make a pie chart.
Okay.
So, on a positive note, what are you looking forward to about next season?
I'll start with what I'm not looking forward to, because I want it to be super positive.
Okay.
I'm not looking forward to Conqueror City again.
Okay,
because it's been terrible. I'm not looking forward to another one of no weapons.
Oh yeah.
However,
nice.
I am looking forward to Project Nirvana keeping going. Project Nirvana has massively increased the number of frames I'm getting personally.
Feels smooth.
I'm actually able to 100% max out my GPU now, which is nice.
It is feeling smoother.
It does feel smooth. I am hopeful that they will make changes again to the units.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful that we get a better stability. That's what I'm very hopeful for. I'm not confident in it, but I'm really, really hopeful.
But you're hopeful. And you know what? Hope is the main thing, and that's what we should all have.
Hope is what kills you.
No. Hope is what keeps the fire burning within.
Okay, what are you looking forward to?
Why did you ask me that?
Why? Because you asked me.
I know. I was going to end on that positive note, but no. I now have to go in here and try and find a speckle of hope that Okay. What I am looking forward to about next season, I'm actually really looking forward to going into blue tier lock again, into tier 3 lock. I don't know why. Just this time, I had a really good time with it this season that we're currently in, but I enjoyed it a lot. I just found it, it's nice when there's, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a light armor, but it's nice when units can't just like insta one kill me if I just scrape past them. So for me, I'm looking forward to tier 3 lock. That is kind of a rare thing because a lot of people don't actually like that. And I'm also looking forward to the... Oh, God, this is a difficult one. Jesus Christ.
Scrape the bottom of that barrel.
Oh,
Scrape it, Plum.
I'm thinking...
You're looking forward to the next round of It's Just Not Your Day tourney, aren't you?
I am. What a good note.
Did you watch the first one?
I did watch the first one. Yes.
Okay.
But I will say, because I came in halfway through, are you posting these anywhere?
One's on our channel, but we've not advertised it particularly far, so we will. And the others are on Mark.
Are you posting them? So you are going to be posting them, because I came in halfway through, and if you want to catch up with them, people are going to need a place to go to catch up and actually see these. I will do a promotion for you as well.
Oh, thank you kindly, sir.
So people will come along.
So we did that tournament, and because there's been a number of things that have gone on in like the custom battles, it was possible, and it was pretty fun to do. We learned a lot. First of all, running a tournament, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
As with anything in life, the more you put in, the more you get out. And we had a decent number of people turn up. We had lots of old players, new players, and in the end, I think most people had a really good time.
Good.
When they got behind the fact that this is a random tournament, we're not expecting perfect things. It's a completely different way of playing the game, and that's what the game needed, because it was quite stale of just doing sieges all the time.
Yeah, that's it. On a side note, because you guys have obviously run a tournament, I know we're meant to end, but this is one last thing. How would you feel, and this is another thing that if we were going to add it to the list real quick, that I would like to see, especially for, like, I love doing custom battles and stuff like that with stream. It's like one of the funnest things to do, especially if you like ban something, or if you say like muskets only, or something like that. But what I would love to see is more options with custom battles, like, for example, turn off the time limit. When you're in a field battle, I want to turn off the time, so if I'm doing a recording, I don't need to quickly get it done in 18 minutes. And I would love if I could put on an all v all mode, so we could do like the Hunger Games, or do like a battle royale sort of game thing going on, like just way more options. Like you can turn off doctrines, you can turn off unit attires, you can do that. Turn off time,
make custom battles custom,
like actually like full custom. So you're like, you can go, everybody doesn't have a weapon, you can take away everyone's armor, you can take away everyone's weapon, you can make it all v all, so everyone's on different teams. You can like go make it so you got 3-man teams the entire way through. Just so much more choice. You can add AI. So like, let's say like we had those ones where we were testing your things the other day, testing the maps. You could go like, and let's say we only had 6 men. That's fine, because in my custom game mode, we can add in another 10 AI bots on both teams. We can just add them in. So like, if we ever did a game mode, you can make it feel full. Like if we had let's say we had a smaller stream going where there was like, I don't know, let's say 15 people, and 15 people wanted to do a custom game mode. Well, I got to split those guys up, and then it kind of feels empty for videos and stuff. But I can just fill in the spots. That would be so cool. Just extra customization. And how would that help you for like your...
The potential's limitless.
Yeah. Like you could do a 3-man tourney where you have like the Hunger Games going on, where it's 3-man teams, and you ban every unit apart from one, and everyone has the same units.
Ooh. it's interesting, and it's all worth just looking at, to be honest.
It would just make more options, wouldn't it?
I'd love it to be done, but it's just not going to get done in its current state.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, but hopefully we can all wish. We can wish, and we will have hope. But on that note, I feel like we should end this. Otherwise, we're just going to continue talking, and we've already been talking for 2 hours and 21 minutes. So,
there's a lot to talk about, and we can always talk about more as well.
We can. I'm trying to do these podcasts more regularly, and we're going to get different guests in. But we've had coffee, and I wanted to get the podcast man in here to really lead the podcast. And you have dragged me along with a rope.
Who's Temple?
And Temple. I mean, Temple's actually probably going to be one of my next guests, I reckon. That I've split.
Oh, you I've
split you guys up. I've split up. There's too much. I wouldn't get a word in edgeways if you're both here. So
yeah, to be honest, that's true.
I'm going to prep myself for that one. I'll get my sleep mask ready to go, and I'll just press play, and Temple can speak. So
I at least ask you questions.
And he won't have any of that.
You did more talking than I did.
100%. I'm a bit of a chatterbox, you see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like this sort of content, I'd really appreciate the sub. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.